Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the podcast. Today, we're going to chat about the producer's letter. We've got three guests with us here today. We'll just go around the table first and have everyone just give a brief introduction, say like who you are, where you're from, how long you've been playing DDO, things like that. Brecker, you want to go first?
Hi, I'm Brackart, British streamer. I stream DDO 5 nights a week, Monday to Fridays. I've been playing DDO since it went free to play, and my Facebook page got spammed with adverts. And I've been streaming it for just over 5 years now.
Okay, Nomad.
All right, aloha everyone, Nomad Dog. I am in Hawaii. I have been playing DDO since shortly after it went free to play, so about 16 years now. And my wife used to be in Brackert's Guild back on Kenneth way back when. So I've known Brackert for quite some time. But looking forward to it. It's always good discussions that we have on here.
And here for the first time, Psycho Blonde.
Everybody, I'm Psycho Blonde. I stream very intermittently and make some videos and also make the maps for the wilderness areas on the wiki. I've been making those since Ravenloft. Well, I didn't make the Ravenloft one originally, but I made like 90% of it and then handed it off to someone. But I live in Ohio, and I've been playing DDO since February of 2010, or no, January of 2010. So almost 16 years now.
All right, so the topic today is the producer's letter, which we got just this week, just a handful of days ago. Lots of new news about what we're going to get here in 2026, and wanted to invite some people just to chat about it. So the start of the letter, Tolero, who's the senior producer for DDO, went over what they did last year, things like Chill of Ravenloft, things like game performance improvements and upgrading infrastructure, transfers, and all that. I think the first thing I really want to ask you guys about is the Symphony of the Fae. So this is kind of at the end of her introductory paragraph. That just ended. So I thought this would be a good time to just give everyone's like overall thoughts on Symphony of the Fae. Like, did you participate? What rewards did you end up getting? Is there anything about the event that you want to see changed now that it's over?
I mean, I did participate. I didn't do the hardcore version. I was mid through a whole chain of racial reincarnations, so I didn't want to put that on pause to do hardcore. So we just did the regular versions. I got all 5 rewards and the golden moat song things. I thought it was quite good. Overall, it was something we could do alongside, the regular questing and stuff to, going through racial reincarnations. The only thing that kind of annoyed me about it at times was the level blocks. Like you could get your loot to a certain point, and then you couldn't progress it further until you went up to a certain levels, and then you could only that got on my nerves. But that's really the only negative I've got about it. I can't speak to the hardcore side because I didn't do it. But the rest of it was fine. So we just incorporated it with our regular questing, and just moat would turn up, and we'd pause, deal with it, and just carry straight on. It was nice.
Yeah, same with me. I ended up not doing the hardcore version either. I almost want to see them incentivize doing that more, like doing the hardcore side more, like give them some super shiny reward you can only get over hardcore instead of just kind of a cosmetic alteration. The one thing about the event I saw people do a lot, and I don't think I mentioned this in previous podcasts, was I would like to see like some rebalancing of how much durability is needed and to fit, say, like a one per quest. Like I think they should probably limit it to one per quest in terms of getting moats, so that you can't just farm the same quest over and over, to kind of encourage a diversity of content. I think that would be a good change. But
That
as
was actually a suggestion I made on the PC. We had a huge discussion on the Players' Council about all the things that we thought. There are some people suggesting that it could be that if you died when you were doing the winter ones, your loots would turn into summer loots. So you would still retain some progress toward the loot, but it wouldn't be hardcore anymore.
That's a good idea.
Which that was I don't know if that's feasible with the way they have it programmed or anything like that. But I actually did do the hardcore, and I did the whole summer thing first because like you, I was in the middle of a bunch of TRs at that point. So I did the summer loot, and it felt kind of grindy, but I started at level 15 because I was doing an iconic. So it was a different sort of experience, I think. And then when I finished that, I was actually enjoying it, so I thought maybe I'll try hardcore. I really don't like hardcore most of the time because I get really, really upset if I die, and it's just depressing for weeks. But
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of fun. My first tune died by level 3, and I was like, oh no. So I made another one, and I decided to play a Dragon Lord, ASMR Dragon Lord, so I had to have a little extra bonus healing on top of it with the healing hands. And it was so broken. It is just absolutely broken for level 8.
Oh, yeah. Dragon Lord
to
is just
hardcore
absurd.
to Dragon Lord.
Dragon Lord's so
And
good.
I pulled out all my expansion hirelings all the time that were roughly in the right level range. So I just have this little army going through quests all the time. So that was fun. I didn't really like that I had to get all the way up to level 25 to finish it because I didn't realize that you could kind of choose the golden loot or golden moat to skip the higher level stuff. I didn't really like the level thresholds either, but the thing I just liked about them the most was that you would get like really, really close to finishing. You'd be like, yes, and then all of a sudden, boop, you got 5 more levels to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, so my guild, we had like 5 of us that were all in one group and doing hardcore stuff together. I I kind of feel that the way this is set up, it's kind of hard to run a hardcore loot and play with a regular group of people, through random LFMs, because the default, let's be honest, is let's see how fast we can get through this quest, right? When I was doing my summer loots and I was just running random stuff, a lot of people towards the end just skipped loot modes altogether.
Exactly. I was about to say
And so
this.
I
Yep.
so I had to stop and do it myself, which is fine because that character was perfectly capable of it. Um, but the hardcore, we actually had a dedicated group that we did it with. And so I managed to get all 10 of the cosmetics. I got the last 2, which were both the summer and winter horns, on the last day because I just wasn't really interested in the horns, but I was close. So I figured let's just finish it. Um, I like the event overall. I like the fact that they took little pieces from different events and kind of incorporated them together. We had the tech from the Lanterns event where you have to interact with something. Um, we have the, let's go find these random locations like we had with the treasure hunt or with the Illithid invasion. So they're taking things from different events and kind of melding them together into something. And I think this was overall good. I agree the grind is a bit much. Going back to regular hardcore, you progress multiple objectives at once with regular hardcore. Like you get Reaper, you get Favor, you get XP all at the same time, or get your levels all at the same time, as opposed to this where you're working on one item per, basically, right? So I wish there was a way that you could do multiple things at once. It would reduce the grind some. I don't know exactly how that would work. I do like the idea of, if for some reason my hardcore tune dies, at least I have some progress on my summer loot. That would be nice. But I do think overall it was fun. I enjoyed it. But there's still some little tweaks that they can do to make it a little bit better.
And there's almost an upside, and you mentioned it, an upside and a downside about the activation of the moats, because I noticed this too, that if you are in public, if you participate in public groups and you're not in a static group or a guild centered group, like you had to have done the event like early, because, or at least in the first half of the event, because I noticed kind of getting to the second half of the event, every single group would just run past the moats. So you'd either have to fight it all yourself and get left behind, or try to find a static group or something because yeah, like every group was just running past the moats after a little while, which I don't know if that's like that's obviously a con, but there's also a con with them not being activatable and just spawn by default because then you always have to fight them. So I don't know which is better, but it is something I noticed.
The level cap, especially the level 25 level cap, because one of the loots required you when you hit level 20, you could push it to within 100 of the final goal, but then you had to be level 5 in order to do that last 100 durability on the loot. And so that was kind of ridiculous. The fact that, you know, you get to 20 and you got all this durability and you're like, oh, I can finish this off now. And now you got to gain 4 or 5 more levels before you can get it done. That was frustrating. I mean, I basically just switched to another loot during that time period just so I'm not wasting time. But if you're one of those that's only going to run one thing, only run one loot, you know, it just feels like it was kind of a waste if you didn't switch.
Right.
I
Well, go ahead.
um I didn't really like as much that it didn't really push you to do a lot of different quests the way the older hardcore seasons used to, where you get the
Exactly.
favor, and a lot of people would just repeat farm the same thing over and over and over and
Yeah, I would
over,
love
and
to
I
see
just
them make
couldn't
it more
stand that.
favor based for that
Yeah.
reason. I think it's a
I
lot more
did I
interesting.
did my I did my hardcore run by just doing all of the quests that didn't have legendary versions because I figured I'd save those for later. So I did a ton of quests, but I was slow getting up there.
Yeah.
And
Well, the system just
I missed
shouldn't.
that aspect.
The system just shouldn't incentivize. It should disincentivize farming in the design.
Mhm.
So hopefully they address
I don't,
that somehow.
I don't want to see Caged Beast at any time in the near future. I ran that thing into the ground.
I saw a lot of people farming like Into the Mists and short quests like that. I think Haberdasher
Grim
some.
and Barrett.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anything else you all want to say on the Symphony of the Fae before we move on to the new stuff?
Yep, I'm good.
All right. Well, let's start with now in the producer's letter the actual new stuff. The first thing that was mentioned is that Tolero said that 2026 is our 20th anniversary, and we want to go all out with gifts and things to do. There's going to be a new public area which will contain all the new activities and gifts, including a Memento cosmetic cloak, a newer version of the Raiders reward box, the Jin Discovery Boost, and a new way to get fabulous in-game rewards throughout the 20th anniversary year. And then she says more detail. And a lot of this stuff is actually on, well, it's not anymore, but it was on preview on Lamania this week. So any thoughts on that? Sounds like we're getting a new cloak, which I assume they'll just give to us. I did check out the Raiders reward box on Lamania. They did add a few things, like I noticed skeletons in the closet. Loot was in there. The Jin Discovery Boost looks pretty similar. I think it's going to work exactly the same as last year. So you talk to the Jin. It works like a ship buff. You get a bonus to name drop rate. And then they mentioned this new way to get fabulous in-game rewards throughout the 20th anniversary year. I originally thought that would be like a Year of the Dragon type thing where you get a periodic giveaway each month, but it's going to be actually this oh, what's the name? It was on preview, but you can turn in mysterious remnants.
It's the
What?
Mysterious Remnant Rush.
Yeah, so you can turn in each month, you can turn it up to, I'm going to ballpark, I
10.
think it's around 10 times. And
Yeah,
each
10
time you
times.
turn in remnants 10 times per month, each time you turn it in, it's the cost increases and increases by a lot once you get past like the second, third, fourth turn in, but it'll reset each month. So each month it'll go back to the default cost. So you can kind of gauge how often you want to turn in based on how many remnants you have piled up. So definitely if you have any kind of like remnant boost, potions or whatever, I think those exist. You might want to use them, start using them so you can build up some mysterious remnants for sure. Because there's some nice stuff in there, like cursed card cleansers. There's a chance for that. There's also these things called what is it, Mythic Reaper Dust? I think they call them dust. So I assume that's to craft Mythic and Reaper bonuses on gear, but I'm not entirely
Yeah,
sure.
it's to
It is.
put. It was cloaks, gloves, and boots. I think it was.
Okay.
But it's only 3 item slots, but you can put Reaper Mythic bonuses on gear.
Yeah, and I wonder how that varies
And from
from.
what I understand, There's like a super reward where I think you can get like named loot or something like that. That's the 10 times a month, and the other ones you can just buy
Yeah.
until you run out of remnants.
Okay. Right.
That's gonna take
There,
me a while.
there's
Huh.
there's the fragmented tomes of Myth-Drannor, which have all of the, not all, but a significant number of the items from Myth-Drannor in there, like the outfits of the Crown Blade, the War Blade, the Art Blade. I think the big thing from that list that a lot of people are asking for is the minor artifacts, the rings specifically, to be in there, but those are not in there. But that's another thing that's on that random list of potential items you can get when you purchase. But yeah, it does go up significantly. I think the top, if you pay 10, it's 100,000 rems for the 10th spin of the wheel.
Yeah, so Tolero did say yesterday, because she did an interview with Cordovan on his Fridays at 4 show, that they are going to run this through until the next anniversary. So I would not recommend everyone who's listening, go blow all your remnants in the first month. Just you probably want to turn in 1 or 2 each month. Do the first 2 turn-ins, depending on how much you play and how many remnants you have saved up. But I would recommend being patient. I mean, it's going to be around for a while, and you want your remnants to stretch. It's so much remnants when you get past the second, third, fourth turn in that I don't think it's worth personally. But each person is going to have to judge for themselves. I know when
I'm going to be able to clear a hell of a lot of bank space because I have a lot of remnants.
See,
I've got something like 200,000 already.
I at some point,
I could double that easy.
I started just running past them this past year, so I didn't have to click. So I could have had a lot more. I've started to ignore them because I've had so many, but I will have to start picking them up again for sure. So when I was playing around with it, I got mostly, so you can get the not just the cursed card cleansers, you can get the regular cards. I got mostly that when I turned it in. I also got I think it was a fragmented wisdom tome. And when I clicked on it, I had my choice of either a +1 wisdom tome or any upgrade wisdom tome. So it could be a 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, anything. So yeah, so there's definitely some good stuff here. So the value of Mysterious Remnants has shot up for sure.
At least for the next year.
Yeah. So anything you all want to say about did anyone else check out the Raiders reward box that was on? I did see the one thing that people probably will really like is the Skeletons in the Closet optional loot, which is it costs a lot of raid runes to get. And there's some fun things like the dinosaur summon was on there, which is really fun. If you don't have that, just 1 of 3, you click on it, you get 1 of 3 random dinosaurs to summon as a pet. And they're pretty good actually for distraction. So yeah, so that was cool.
Pretty sure the number one thing that's going to be taken from that box though is going to be the Quiver of Alacrity.
Yeah, so the big things, the Quiver of Alacrity from Heroic Abbot's on there. You still have to craft it. I think you need 1 seal of the Black Abbot to craft it.
You need a seal of the Black Abbot, but you can get one of those for tome pages.
Tome pages or shield pieces, yeah, which means the value of those is going to shoot up as well.
Yeah, there's also some nice things.
4 sets.
I saw Dark Diversion was on there from Temple of Deathworm, which is really nice because that can be turned into a negative threat augment, and everyone who's on a DPS build really needs to have a negative threat, especially if you're playing raids. Please help your tank out, get some negative threat.
They previewed the box on the Players Council, and we were like, yeah, put all the items that you can make stuff out of in there.
I saw the teleport clicky from Defiler of the Just was on there. I think it's called, is it Belt of Braided Beards, or am I thinking of a different one? Yeah, I think that's the name of it.
That's actually what I wear at Cap.
Oh yeah, that's a really nice item if you need teleport on a fighter or some character without UMD. But yeah, there's for sure some nice stuff. But yeah, I gotta say the Quiver of Alacrity has got to be number 1 on that list for sure. Just get 30% run speed at level 1. So if you do any kind of racial or heroic TRs, it's pretty invaluable item. I didn't see the cloak on preview, so I can't really tell how different that is.
I'm gonna guess it'll be like any of the other anniversary cloaks.
Yeah,
it'll be a cool design, and obviously limited to the anniversary as to when you can get it. But other than that, it's just a cosmetic cloak.
I kind of wish it was more like a sash that we got last year because I like those better. But yeah,
I want more cosmetic things to go on back, because we got the quiver with Mithranor, and then the most recent cosmetic thing, bundle,
The
coffer.
Midnight Wing.
That's coffer had
we
a,
also got
a
a
cloak,
backpack.
which was like a weird, sort of almost like L angle with a quiver attached to it, and if you wear it, it looks kind of weird because the cloak that there's nothing actually holding the quiver on the cloak. It just looks a bit daft, but get the cloak from the Mithranor one, recolor it like half a dozen different colors, and put it in the store. And give while they're at it, I mean the drow at the end of Lord of Dust, with his twin cross swords on his back. I wield twin swords. Give me that. Give me
That's
this.
a good idea.
Yeah, or a bolt quiver with like a crossbow on the back for like artificers and such. I cloaks are nice and all. Don't get me wrong, but we've got loads and loads of cloaks in the back in the thing.
You
Give us
could get like the
well, yeah, you
flags
can
that
you can have a
samurai used to
backpack.
wear.
A backpack with like a bedroll on top. The Cormyrean dragon armor has like a small version of that, or one with like a wizard backpack with like great big spell tome, etc., and like a roll of scrolls, and the amount of things they could do with that slot is crazy, and they're not doing any of them.
Yeah. I'm always surprised why they don't put more things in the store. Like, just take whatever they give us and alter the color and throw it in the store and make some easy money. I always wonder why they don't do that. I don't think they monetize
People-
cosmetic as much as they could.
Yeah, people love cosmetics. No one wants to look the same as everyone else.
Yeah.
As other people. Individuality is a thing, and people will pay to be individual. So yeah, they should literally have one person whose job is to do nothing but make cosmetics and put them in the store.
Right.
I think that's basically where the patron coffers are coming from. Is that when they have an artist who's kind of like, okay, I don't really have anything to do right at the moment. They're like, make a coffer.
Yeah, maybe that's the thinking, that
Yeah.
they would rather just use that time to put the art into future coffers. Because they're releasing a new coffer, every like 3 months at this point, something like that.
Yeah, they're coming out pretty fast and
Yeah.
furious.
Okay. Well, anything else you all want to say about this anniversary stuff? I want to mention the public area. So who went on Lamania and looked at it? Anyone but me? You did, Psychobond? Okay. So for anyone listening, the public area has a few things to it. It has actually some platforming areas. There's like a section where you can drop down and collect. They look like Snow Peaks coins, except they're not. They can give you. Oh, what do they give you? I can't remember what they give you, but you can go to the public area. There's an area you can drop down and do this falling section where you fall and try to collect the coins. And then there's a tower you can climb up and try to collect the coins as well. So there's that. A lot of flavor text NPCs to go around and talk to, but it is cool. It's a new, just a brand new area. It looks like something, it sort of reminds me of like the area of Vecna Unleashed, or it's about the size, I'd say, of like Mithranor's public area.
I thought it looked a lot like Moorgrave University.
Yeah, that's what, is that what I said?
The platforms. You said Mithranor.
Oh, okay. I meant to say, yeah. It's about the size of Mithranor, but I meant to say it looks like, Moorgrave University in terms of the looks. Yeah, for sure.
Did you see the Dread Pirate Bradley?
No, I didn't. I must have missed that.
There's a drunken pirate asleep called the Dread Pirate Bradley, and I was like, oh, it should be Wesley.
That's funny. So I'm trying to see if they talked
You
about.
got Roberts, so he's in the
Red Sea Scrolls.
yeah. Thank you. I always forget the name of that one.
Yeah, so all the anniversary stuff, including the 2 new dungeons, which we'll talk about the new dungeon in a second, are going to be in this new area instead of in front of Party Crashers in House P. But, okay, anything else you want to say about that before we move on to the next thing here? All right, so the next thing mentioned, Tolero said, we're also introducing a new archetype called the Arcane Trickster, and this is going to be a rogue archetype. During the anniversary. So she says, this is a beloved part of the D&D books, and we're excited to bring it to life. Arcane Trickster will be free to VIPs and available in the store, but for the first month of its release, everyone can come to the anniversary party and claim it for free. And this is on Lamania right now also for preview. But yeah, so it's going to work similar to, say, like Year of the Dragon giveaway for Slice of Life, or I think Dragon Lord worked this way as well. The
Mhm.
first month it's out, you can claim it for free permanently in game. If you don't claim it to get it free permanently during that first month, you're going to have to either buy it in the store separately, or you're going to have to sub to VIP and get it as part of your subscription. But yeah, did anyone have a chance to? And I was really hoping Glassjaws would make it, because he was actually testing it on Lamania. Oh, you did as well, Cycle Blonde. Awesome.
Oh
So
yeah, I
so
did.
what do you think of it on Lamania? So I read through the
Um,
thread, but I didn't have a chance to roll one up on Lamania. I didn't have time.
um, I think it has real potential. They have, I happen to know this because they're on the PC, but they have iterated on this particular archetype really heavily because they have experience with knowing that the hybrid archetypes, where they're castery and non-castery at the same time, tend to be really problematic. They'll be good for leveling, but once you get up into epics, they just kind of start to peter out really bad. So they're working really hard on getting this one to a functional state, and they've changed a whole bunch of things already. But um, it kind of feels like a return of the magic missile spam from old Sharati Destiny that you used to do on like wizards and stuff. Largely because we just didn't have enough spell points back then, and you had no other way to kick out damage. Um, the thing I found, they do decent damage. It's not spectacular. It's not like just like worlds away from anything else. It's not going to become the flavor of the month, at least in the state it is now. But it's solid. And the only problem I found, the major downfall with the casting part of it, is that you run through your spell points so fast
I assumed they
because
wouldn't have a
you
lot of
have to
spell points.
really well. I got up around 4,000, which is about the same as
Oh,
my
okay.
bard
They get a lot of
on live.
SLAs, don't they? From what I
Yeah,
saw,
they
they
do get a
did.
bunch of SLAs,
But even
but
still.
you don't use the SLAs as much for DPS because they're all single hit, and you want the multi-hit stuff to really stack up your damage because you get the magical ambush damage on every single hit. Magical ambush damage is not like other procs where it has an internal timer, so it can only go off once per spell. It hits every single hit, or it's supposed to. There's a couple of things where it doesn't do that, like Hellball currently. Only one of the hits gets it.
Because I
I
think
don't
they
know if
get
they're
certain
planning on fixing
enhancements
that.
where they get extra damage per hit, so they're really incentivized to use the multi-hit stuff, like Magic Missile. That's what I
Hmm.
remember from having
Well,
read it, right?
it's not an enhancement. It's part of the class. It's like the 8th level
Oh,
class ability. You get for every sneak attack die you have, and then get sneak attack like a rogue. You do initially it's a D3, but if you get the capstone, it's a D6 extra damage uh, per hit of the spell. Basically, it has that much force damage. So they are very force damage oriented.
okay. And I saw that their DCs are going to be based on disable device skill, right? Because they are
That's
intelligence
for
based
their.
for the casting stat, but
Mhm.
their DC is disable device, which I was like, whoa, really? Because you can get that really high,
Well,
and it's going to
that's for
make
their
gearing a lot easier.
SLAs, which are mage hand
Uh huh.
uh, focused abilities. So they're kind of themed around the idea of a mage hand. So you've got one where you like they're kind of Three Stooges-y, where you like poke somebody in the eyes with your mage hand and it blinds them. They've got one where you snap your fingers and they just disappear. It's on a 30-second cooldown. But those are disabled as device based.
Okay.
Oh, and there's also one that heals you.
Yeah, I saw
So
they got
you've got
heal SLA. They've got.
not just a heal SLA. You get what's called stolen spells, where you can pick from spells from other classes. So some of them you get like shout. You can get like a heal spell. You can get an actual alchemist potion throw. You can get a lot of different things.
Okay.
So
Cool.
there's a lot of variety. Um, the only thing that I kind of find is a downfall with them is, apart from they're decent on the casting, but they've got two other trees that really feel underutilized. They have mechanic, which is, it's also in base. There's good synergy there. And instead of going as a caster with the arcane trickster tree, you can go and imbue route and add a whole ton of force damage to your mechanic shooting. So that's a great option. And then the third tree is thief acrobat, and it has no synergy. The stats don't work. The theming of it doesn't cooperate well with the other trees, and that's a little bit of a problem.
I saw that they don't get a trance and they don't get into hit and damage. So pretty much every trickster is gonna have to splash in Harper. It seems like.
Well, unless you go pure caster, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, and so the mage hand, my understanding is that kind of work like the falconry bird, to where it's sort of like it's not like an actual companion like you would have with an artificer pet or something, right?
No, it's not
It's
a
like
pet.
an animation.
It's an FX. It
It's an
just
effect.
appears when you do the spell.
Gotcha.
It's not
That's what I figured. I just want to make
hanging
sure.
around.
Okay.
But they do potentially get into hit and damage, or one of them, because one of the stolen spells you can get is to get the artificer spells that give you that.
Yeah, and I noticed there's going to be some tough choices with the SLAs because each core, I believe, is an SLA, and you have a pretty big list of spells, but you can only take one because it's multi-selector. You can only take one from each core, and so there's going to be some tough decisions on the spells for sure. There's multiple good ones, and you can only have one per core.
I kind of like that aspect
Yeah.
because they
No, tough
definitely
decisions
built
are
some
interesting.
real-
That's always
Yep.
interesting.
Variety is good, yeah.
Okay, so what else? Oh, the one thing I saw, they have a ranged trap disable. I saw that's
Yes.
people are gonna love that about them. So you can disable traps at a distance. You still have to search and find them, obviously. So it's not like you can disable boxes from across the map, but you can. You don't have to be right next to the box anymore. At least you'll have
Right,
like
there's some
search
traps.
range. Yeah.
If you don't have to stand in it
Yeah,
to
right.
disable.
There's gonna be a lot of traps where
Which is good because I
yeah.
don't think they get evasion natively. I can't remember if
I
they do or
think they
not.
do. I thought I read that they did. Well, we'll find
I
out.
wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, I
to
think
that
I'm
part.
pretty sure they do. Could be wrong, but I recall them that they did. But okay, well, let's see. Is anyone familiar with like Mage Hand and pen and paper that can talk a little bit about that? Because I don't quite understand, because I just am not familiar with how this works in pen and paper, but I know it draws a lot from pen and paper, this concept of Mage Hand. Is it just kind of like a companion in pen and paper? How does it work?
It's
What I understand, it's similar to like Invisible Servant or something. It's just if you ever watched Legend of Vox Machina, the bard Scanlan calls out Scanlan's hand and casts it, and he's using it instead of Bigby's hand, which is slightly more powerful version of Mage Hand, but that's basically what it is. It's a hand that you can send places to do things, to open doors, to you can stand on it.
they had
and
it in Baldur's Gate
lift you
3
up.
too.
Yeah.
But it's literally just a hand that's made out of force that you can use to manipulate things at a distance.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. And Rogan chat is saying that they do get evasion, but they don't get improved evasion. Thanks, Rogue.
yeah, they get the feats like Rogue does after level 10, but they get like meta magics. They don't get the Rogue selections. They don't get improved evasion.
They can get improved evasion anyway by Shadow Dancer, can't they?
Yep.
Once they get up into epic levels.
And I noticed they really are trying to encourage the hybrid playstyle. There's a lot in the tree, just generally, that really encourage you to both hit things and use spells. So we will see how this works. It looks pretty good to me.
They do definitely look like they can get an absolutely stupid high illusion DC.
Uh-huh.
But there just aren't that many illusion spells in the game. I noticed some people were doing experimental builds where they do like a mostly wizard illusionist, because arcane trickster has the ability from wild mage where your class levels all stack as caster levels. So
Yeah.
you can at least try to experiment with multi-classing there.
And their rogue level counts as caster levels as well, I saw. So that's pretty great. Well, anything else you all want to say on the archetype before we move on? Because I know in a future podcast we'll talk about it more as we have a chance to all play it. But for now, it's on preview. There'll probably be another preview. I'm sure there'll be a few previews for it. Well, I don't know that for sure. Sometimes they surprise us, but I suspect there'll be a couple more previews before it gets released.
There'll
At least,
definitely be another one.
yeah, at least one more, because there is some substantial stuff that was still work in progress that was not working correctly on Lamania.
Yeah, they're definitely still working on it and making some decisions about how they want the final version to be.
From my understanding, there was an issue like if people had like shield or night shield, that it was stopping buffs from the casting. Like you would get a buff when you casted something, and it was actually preventing you from being able to get those buffs. So I know that's something that they're looking at too.
It's a current problem with Arcane Warrior stacks, and Arcane Trickster has some other abilities that work like Arcane Warrior. And yeah, if you use a magic missile style spell to try to build up stacks, it doesn't work if you have any form of magic missile protection on yourself, not in the enemy, on yourself. So if you have like the permanent night shield from Shadow Dancer, you can never use that. So they're trying to fix that.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next part of the letter. Tolero says the traditional anniversary event challenge space returns this year, but we want to introduce a new space for a new decade that celebrates DDO's 20 years of stories. Players will meet their old frenemy, Korkaza the Blue Dracolich, so that's like the dragon from Black and Blue, or say like Riding the Storm Out. I think Killing Time as well. And she says they'll find themselves, players will be traveling through time to battle iconic bosses from the game's history. This time, however, there's something suspiciously different about the fights. The new dungeon will have its own rewards and can be played by characters of any level. And Tolero did say yesterday, talking to Cordovan, that it will be built like a regular quest, not like a challenge. So that'll be a little different from the original anniversary dungeon, and also the original dungeon will still be there, but there's just going to be a second one now. And we don't really know, I mean, other than they mentioned Korkaza, but I guess it's going to be a regular quest with notable encounters. So think of classic encounters throughout DDO's history and expect those to return. And then
it's basically Killing Time, but as a quest rather than as a raid.
That's what I'm getting from it.
Different quests that we're visiting, because obviously that one focused on Giant Hold and Menectherin and such, like really, and the Tower of Despair and really quite old quests.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm imagining this one will probably be more recent stuff, so probably Vecna, Mithran, or maybe.
It does say bosses throughout the game's history, so I'm kind of guessing that there'll be a mix of new and old. And since it's a quest and not a raid, I'm assuming it wouldn't be raid bosses. But we really don't know.
They might do lesser versions of raid bosses, that have like the same mechanics but are scaled down.
But like I'd expect, say, like Strahd to be in there, things like that.
Yeah, Strahd is a raid boss.
He's also a regular quest boss, though.
Yeah, I suppose, but
In Sunrise.
Yeah.
He's like Grazit. He has super quest boss mechanics as opposed to a standard quest boss.
Yeah, maybe like Oster KX, like the dragon that's in Korthos and Reaver's Reach, that you kind of fight and prey in the Hunter. Like the Storm Reaver, maybe. Yes, things like that. Is there any particular bosses you all would like to see in there?
Bring
I like to see the avatar
again.
Who? Nomad?
Bring Swordjack back again.
Oh yeah, Swordjack. Yeah, that would be cool.
Guy just keeps coming back.
Yep.
Yeah, when I was listening to Fridays at 4, it sounded like you would have different encounters based upon different times you go into the dungeon. Not different times, but every time you go into the dungeon, there's going to be, it sounded like a range of possible fights that you would end up having.
Oh, that could be interesting.
From what it sounded like with what Tolero said yesterday. So I'm like, oh, that could be cool. You go in one time, you fight Grazit. You go in another time, you have to fight Strahd. You go in another time, you have to go fight the Demon Queen, right? It would be really interesting if you just had this, rotating, random, whatever it might be.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. The loot that comes out of it looks pretty cool. They previewed that. I don't know if you saw it.
I did, yeah.
Now,
One of the
all
things I like is
So,
Go ahead.
someone did post it on the boards, and literally all I saw was a very large number of purple boxes with "this content is not viewable in your region," because they've hosted the image on like Imgur or something, and that can't be viewed in Europe. So it's every single one of them is a large purple box with "this content is not viewable in your region," which is awful.
Yeah, a lot of it is
I
like
think my favorite.
tiebacks to older classic loot, and I think it has sun and moon slots on it.
That's
I I think the sun and moon slots are a bug.
I
I-
thought I think there's Lamortia crafting slots on it. I thought that was the bug, and the sun moon was supposed to be on there. That's my understanding.
You could be right. You could be right.
Yeah.
But I like the hat. It's a revised big top, and it's got freedom of movement on it, which would be really nice.
Yep.
That's a very unusual slot to have bomb in.
And
I'm still surprised FOM isn't on augment. It really should be. FOM and True Seeing should totally be on augments.
Yes, please. I've
True
been
Seeing,
asking for that for a
definitely.
while myself. That's because those are like required effects on every gear set. So to not have an augment form is really annoying with gear Tetris for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, so since it is a quest, you can play these on Reaper mode, the new anniversary dungeon. You can play in Reaper mode. Tolero said that yesterday. And the loot is going to, instead of like a challenge where you just get it on completion, it's going to be at the chest at the end. I assume it's party favors, just like the original anniversary dungeon. That's my assumption. I guess we'll see, since it's not on preview yet, but that's my assumption. Is there anything anyone else wants to say about the anniversary dungeon, the new one? Yeah, not too much we can say yet. Oh, go ahead.
I deliberately didn't go on the money. I want to be surprised by it when it goes live. So I'm trying not to know too much about it.
The quest wasn't on the money anyway. So
yeah, it's not on there yet.
Well, not this time. It probably will be next time.
Probably. The NPC was there with the quest. You could open the quest window, but you couldn't. I tried to enter. Didn't work.
Yeah, just glad we got a new dungeon.
Yep.
Yeah, new dungeon's always good.
Need something different after 10 years.
Okay, so next part of the letter, Tolero says, this is beyond the anniversary. This spring, we will release a new quest pack centering on the story of draconic interest in the infamous Deck of Many Things. We'll also introduce a new year of VIP loyalty rewards. You can learn more about the VIP loyalty reward program here. So they don't have the actual specific list of rewards yet. And then she says, also the new VIP year brings a very different kind of mount that harkens back to a classic and uniquely DDO quest, a memorable Zoriat moment, you'll see. So I guess the first thing is the new spring adventure pack is going to be about draconic interest, so dragons' interest in the infamous Deck of Many Things. So who here is like familiar with the Deck of Many Things from Pen and Paper that can explain that to people who are listening? Yeah, go ahead, Psychobond, please. Just explain what that is and how it works in Pen and Paper, if you would.
The Deck of Many Things is essentially like a tarot deck where you have various major arcana, and the thing of it is an actual artifact. It is a major artifact item. It can't really be destroyed. It just randomly appears sometimes, and you can draw up to 5 cards from it, and depending on what you draw, some massive effect suddenly takes place in you. I don't remember what the effects are in like the newest edition, but I remember back in 3.5 it was things like you could immediately gain 40,000 experience, which is like 3 levels, even at quite high level. They have ones where you
castle and title to a small country. Yeah,
you could
or
be imprisoned.
Donjon,
instantly.
yeah. Imprisoned in an extra dimensional vault instantly. I think you can be struck dead instantly by one of them.
The death card actually summons a Reaper death, and you have to fight him. And if there's like other people around you, they get individual Reapers too.
Yeah,
and I think it was statted out, and it is a horrendous monster to try to fight.
Oh yes, like a demigod in power.
Hmm. And if it does kill you, if it wins and kills you, you can never be resurrected or brought back to life in any way. You're just
Yeah.
gone.
The deck of many things is easily one of the most campaign disrupting items in all of Dungeons and Dragons. And various artifacts have the ability to mess with a campaign's direction and the DM's tacit subtle control of DM's try for control of where the storyline's going. Deck of many things is one of those few things in D&D that can like completely curveball your entire campaign. It's
It's the guess we're
yeah,
playing an entirely new game now.
yeah, it's a very brave DM that actually uses it. It's one of those items that people know exists in the campaign in the D&D multiverse, but and they're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we encountered it? Whilst at the same time being, we don't actually want to encounter it.
Just too much randomness.
Yeah,
Too much of a risk.
yeah.
It's one of the old Gygaxian items that were so super random, like the Talisman of Zaggy, where maybe it likes you, maybe it doesn't. Something horrible's going to happen if it doesn't.
Yeah, it's the D&D equivalent of "Do you feel lucky?" Well, do you, punk? It's
Well.
like, go ahead, draw a card if you dare.
In any
See what
case, in game, dragons are interested in the power I guess these cards could bring. So we've got to deal with their shenanigans. Kind of remind me of, is this the new Codex pages? It's like we're going looking for little
it's
cards
dragons
now.
that the Agents Varganessen favor, so that's quite nice.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Well,
I think we're just shy of a favor.
Assuming it's Eberron dragons, she didn't say whether it was Eberron dragons.
I've got the roadmap up here. It says set in Zendrick, so that's Eberron.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Well, we'll see what that is. It looks like that's probably the only adventure pack. It's the only adventure pack they listed this year. I'm wondering if we'll get something in the fourth quarter after the expansion, because I think sometimes they're a little conservative with these letters.
Well, that's the
like
new,
free
hardcore event.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a free quest or something near the end of the year at least, but who knows? Okay, so VIP loyalty rewards was the next thing mentioned. I assume that's going to be pretty standard compared to last year. Just most of the stuff will probably be just another stack of it, but we'll see how they'll mix that up. I mean, the one thing they mentioned is that the mount that's going to be in the VIP loyalty program, she says, harkens back to a classic and unique DDO quest, a memorable Zoriat moment. So at first I was like, okay, Zoriat moments. The first thing that comes to mind to me is the drinking game in Delirium. But really, there's a lot of them. So I was like, okay, Beholder mount, but I don't know of any instance of Beholders being used as mounts. So I don't think it's going to be that.
There is one in pen and paper.
Is there?
There's,
Okay.
there's.
Do you think it could be a Beholder mount?
It'll be weird if it is.
That was my thought. It'd just be weird.
Beholder mounting in question is a dead beholder that a wizard actually hollowed out. And put like a seat inside, etc. Almost like a submersible. He sits inside the thing, and
I was
the big eye at the front is like a glass dome door that opens and you can climb inside like a cockpit.
Oh, okay.
So that would be kind of weird. My thought with unique Zoriat moment was a flying bed.
Yeah, a lot of people brought that up. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, because they could adapt the flying carpet to be a bed, or even like a book, like in Memory Lapse, how
or a puzzle tile.
Yeah, it could be any kind of animated object, I guess. I just don't. I don't really think of a cute Delirium.
Puzzle tile would be great.
What is it? Truck pile.
Yeah,
Trash pile?
Armored Mech Beholder.
Yeah.
Yeah, Acquisitions Incorporated.
I
was thinking it might be a Thurak Hound.
Well, so I was thinking Theric Hound, but that's mainly Hound of Zoriat, and that's a raid, and she mentions quest here. And then with the acute, I mean, with the animated object, I just don't think of Acute Delirium as a memorable DDO moment. Like, it's not a super popular quest. So that's why I was originally kind of wrote off in my head it being an animated object. But now that I think about it, it makes a lot of sense because they could just take the storm cloud or the flying carpet and pretty easily
I
convert
wonder
that
if
to
it
be a
could be a
better bookshelf.
mimic.
A what?
Mimic. Because a lot of the Zoriat quests have mimics in them.
Ride a
Get, like,
mimic like a
That
bucking
sounds like a
bronco.
very uncomfortable mount to ride.
Yeah,
they get like either Chester or Costumus from Fashion Madness.
Casco or one of the other. Yeah.
We get to ride on Fred's shoulders.
I want to be.
Uses tentacles to steer.
I want a Taken mount.
Big purple epic chest mimic would be funny.
Taken mount. Let's go. No, it's never gonna happen, obviously, but that would be hilarious.
Oh. Ugh.
All right. Well,
Well, they said they're kind of exploring a new mount costume, so I wonder if it could be like the old Taken costume where it basically just turns you into a Taken briefly.
yeah, that would be cool. I wish they would expand that, like any of the stuff, like from Snow Peaks where you turn into a snowman, or the cookie where you turn into a Taken. I wish they would expand and do more of that for events. It's just stupid fun.
With Arcane Trickster coming out, I've been advocating for a mage hand mount.
You know,
so I can actually play Scanlan.
I think a really good idea for if they want to do rare loot, a really good idea for rare loot is a clicky that turns you into like 1 of 5 random monsters, just cosmetically, like the Rizia cookie, and make that rare. Like that would be hilarious. That would be a cool thing to be rare loot, personally.
Yeah, I mean, you could just reskin the flying carpet to a large purple hand, yeah, or whatever color hand.
Or the storm cloud, which is basically the same thing.
Same thing, yeah. Variations on nothing.
Okay, well, anything else you all want to say about the VIP rewards or the deck of many things or the quest pack? All right, so next, she goes into the expansion. So Tolero says, our expansion this summer brings to life part of the Dungeons and Dragons book Out of the Abyss, particularly the latter half, as you tackle the demon lords escaping the Underdark. Players will go face to face with the absolute legend itself, the Demogorgon. Other iconic D&D creatures will also make an inaugural appearance, along with the playable character race, the Dugar, dwarves found in the Underdark. The expansion also will raise the cap to 36. So I guess first thing, let's see. So Tolero did say, she did reveal yesterday that the Demogorgon's going to be who we're gonna fight in the raid. That's in the expansion. She did say that. So that's going to be the raid boss, the Demogorgon. As far as the quest, I guess the module here, has anyone here played it in pen and paper? Because I wasn't familiar with it. I had to go online and read about it when I read the letter.
Okay, one thing before continuing, it's not the Demogorgon. I really hate when people call it this. That this is something that's come in from Stranger Things because the kids called it that there.
Oh, that's how Tolero worded it in the letter. She says the Demogorgon.
No, it's not. It's Demogorgon. It's a name, not a title. His title is the Prince of Demons.
Oh, okay.
He's the most powerful of all the demon lords and holds the title of Prince of Demons accordingly. But he is not the Demogorgon. He is just Demogorgon. Just like Orcus is Orcus and Grazit is Grazit. He's not the Grazit, even though he's a unique individual. It's not a title.
Tweedlex.
Yeah. Yeah. So sorry, pet peeve of
No,
mine.
you're good.
I'm not the only one because a few people on my stream yesterday were like, "Argh!"
I have not watched Stranger Things, but I hear this is a big thing in Stranger Things.
The names are. It's an
names
entirely
are?
different creature.
Yeah.
So is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Demogorgon is a two baboon-headed demon with like tentacles on arms. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Bracker, but that's basically.
Yeah. So when they brought the Etin in, I said on stream, it's because they now have a humanoid figure, giant-sized humanoid figure with 2 heads. I said, how long before Demogorgon turns up? Because you get the Etin white. I mean, the hard part with developing new monsters is the wireframe underneath. Then you can just put whatever skin on top of it. I mean, for instance, like the plant monsters in King's Forest are reskinned trolls. We've got lots of this in DDO. Woodwoads are reskinned hill giants. The hard part to develop is the wireframe underneath. So we now have a wireframe for a giant with 2 heads. So you use that. You swap out his arms for twin tentacles. Each one of his arms should be 2 great big long tentacles. The 2 heads you swap out for baboon heads, and his legs need to be like lizard style legs, and add a tail. And that's roughly Demogorgon. He's 18 feet tall. He's built like a brick outhouse, because his upper body is like gorilla, like ripped like a gorilla. He's like a weird hybrid of gorilla, baboon, lizard, and so forth. And he is very, very powerful. His 2 heads, incidentally, are actually hate one another. They have separate personalities. One of them is Emuel, who is sort of cunning and clever, and the other one is Hethradia, who is brutal and savage. Both of them know that if they were to kill the other head, they would also die. The body can't survive with only one head, but they are constantly at war with each other.
So it's like the giant knight from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where the heads are all
like the knight who's the knights who say knee, sort of similar sort of thing,
Yeah. If I remember correctly, he also radiates fear. Like just gazing upon Demogorgon can send you into a panic.
Yeah, that's part of his. I see he has the title of Prince of Demons. So if were someone to actually kill him, as happens in the Savage Tide adventure path from Dungeon Magazine back in the day, which I've ran as a DM, which is awesome. Like a fiery, almost illusion-like crown of power would basically rise from his corpse and can be claimed by act of will by others. This is what Grazit, Orcus, the various other demon lords that contest Demogorgon's title want more than anything. They want the crown, but you can only get the crown by killing Demogorgon. And so long as he has it, he gains all the powers of it, which includes like a crazy fear aura. He can literally command any other demon to kneel, even ones that absolutely hate him. By his sheer force of will, he can command them to kneel and pay homage to him. He is.
I'm kind of hoping Grazit's in here somewhere. Because he's already in the game and he was supposed to come back.
Well, he's in Out of the Abyss. I mean, I asked this on Fridays at 4 yesterday, but I didn't get an answer. I was going to say, okay, we know we're getting Demogorgon, and we already have Grazit and Zugitmoy in the game, and Dreblex, technically speaking. We've got a large ooze at the bottom of the pit. That is an avatar of Dreblex. But what other demon lords? In the actual book Out of the Abyss, you've got Frazerblu, who's the demon prince of deception. Orcus, who's basically looks like a Balor with a gut and like a skeletal goat head. He's the demon prince of the undead. Yenogu, large gnoll with a triple-headed flail. He's the demon prince of gnolls. And Baphomet, who would basically be like a Garistro with black fur, wielding a very large glaive, and he's the demon lord of Minotaurs. All of these are actually in the Out of the Abyss adventure. So I'm kind of curious as to what other demon lords we get as well as Demogorgon. Oh, and what Troggy's just said in chat. Yeah, Igwilf would be awesome to get.
So
I've played through the first part of Out of the Abyss. I haven't done the latter parts. There's a lot of really interesting story in the first part.
Although they escaped the Abyss because to be a demon lord, you need to completely rule at least one whole layer of the Abyss. The Abyss, technically speaking, has infinite layers. Grazit's somewhat of an overachiever. He rules 3. Everyone else sort of rules one layer. But they are kind of bound to the layer. In order to master a layer of the Abyss, you kind of have to bind yourself to it. So it's like self-imprisonment in a way. They can project avatars or aspects of themselves beyond it, but their actual physical form is kind of limited to being there. They can't really leave the Abyss. So the storyline of this is, if I remember rightly, is they've somehow managed to actually escape the Abyss, only to become imprisoned in a different way in the Underdark. So they're now trying to escape the Underdark, and if they manage to do that and have like free reign, they, like I said, they're all monstrously powerful individuals. Most of these command whole layers of the Abyss. If they can actually get out of the Underdark, because the Underdark is saturated with like a magical radiation called Feyer's, which prevents teleportation and stuff like that. It greatly limits it. If they can actually get to the surface, they will be able to open portals from the surface back to their home realm, where they have untold armies of demonic
The
minions.
infinite
Gotcha.
armies of the abyss.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like I say, if they get to the surface, that's it. You can kiss goodbye to the planet.
So we gotta keep them down there.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, what do you all think about returning to the Underdark? I'm happy to see that, and I'm really happy to see Durgar. I've been asking for that for quite a while. I've always wanted another dwarf race. Like I particularly I wanted to have a dwarf iconic I can play. That's what I really wanted. So it's cool to see dwarves get some love.
Yeah. Definitely happy to see more dwarves. Happy to go back to the Underdark, especially the Underdark with Durgar, because the Underdark and Durgar features another character who's actually in the adventure, which is Thembershod. So if you've watched the most recent Dungeons and Dragons movie, the great big fat red dragon, he's a character in the adventure. So I'm kind of curious as to whether we get him.
Ooh.
Because that would be awesome fight. The great fight the great big pudgy dragon. I would love that.
I need to step away for a second. One of my dogs is making a very alarming noise.
No worries. Go for it.
But I'll be back shortly.
Yeah, I was like, because Thembershot is in the first part of the adventure, right?
Yeah.
So when she started talking about the second part, I'm like, okay, that's more fighting against the different demon lords and dealing with that stuff. Zugat Moy, if I remember correctly, is in the first part, because of the Myconid wedding. Yeah, the Thembershod thing, I was like, if we can get Thembershod, fantastic. I don't know if they're going to have the pull to get the licensing, considering it was in the movie. That might be too big of a price tag.
Come on, SSG.
But it would be so much fun.
We want Fat Dragon. He's so fun.
And
I agree.
Yeah,
I'm
and
painting one on my stream to raffle off next month. So,
and I'm hoping that we get to see Gracklestug, which is the Durgar city in Out of the Abyss. But again, that mainly takes part in the beginning, so I don't know if we'll actually see it.
There's two, isn't there? Because there's Gracklestug in the first half of the adventure, but there's Gauntlgrim. Which is yeah, which is the other Durgar city. I'm thinking we're probably going to end up with Gauntlgrim, if they're going with the second half of the book. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll still happily hack my way through a Durgar, any Durgar city in the Underdark. I'm just hoping it'll be more expansive of a city than Shindelrin is, because Shindelrin's a bit small.
I wonder if how this is going to tie into the Menace of the Underdark, like logistically, with the Underdark there. It's probably going to be a completely separate area, I would imagine.
Yeah.
From Mo 2, because they don't want to have to deal with because that's part of the old Menace of the Underdark expansion, and it's probably just gonna be a separate area. I mean, maybe there'll be a portal somewhere where you can go to the Mo 2 version, I guess, but
I wouldn't be at all surprised.
It'd be like
Ravenloft.
The Wild Hunt area is attached to Feywild.
Yeah, possibly.
Touch each other. But...
Yeah, I mean, Out of the Abyss is technically set in the Underdark of Forgotten Realms. So
it's completely separate Underdark.
Yeah, it's a different Underdark area. It could I mean, you could do it in Greyhawk, as Troggy's Drogs just pointed out in the chat, but Forgotten Realms is more likely. But if they were to link them together, I would imagine they would retask one of the portals maybe in Evening's Dark Cavern. Because that's like a bit of a plane up.
With Durgar, Troggy kind of mentioned this too, but yeah, I'm sure I would expect them to get an enlarged SLA in their racial tree, which, you'd think they would, since they already have the they already have that animation ready to go because that exists in the unyielding sentinel tree already. They could take that animation
Wild Mage
basically.
too.
That's Wild
Yeah,
Mage, yeah.
Wild Mage, yeah. So that would be really fun. I hope that that's the case. I want to be able to use enlarge constantly on a Durgar.
I actually know the answer to that question, and I can't tell you. It's still
Oh,
under
really?
NDA.
Oh, are you in the Players Council? Okay, gotcha. No worries. Yeah, I was like long time ago in the Players Council, and then I didn't want to be anymore because I make content and YouTube videos and stuff, and I was like, I don't want to have to remember what I can say and what I can't say, and
Same. That's the
Yep.
reason I didn't apply
Yeah.
for yeah.
okay.
Well, and they like to spitball ideas a lot, so we see a lot of stuff that doesn't make it into the game.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
like Selamas being an anti-paladin. I thought that was an interesting thing that that Telera that got mentioned at the bottom of the bottom of the letter was
Salimus.
Salimus, yeah, was it was an abandoned story idea that she became a black. Well, it says anti-paladin, but the proper term in D&D these days is blackguard, an evil paladin, basically. Which would explain where she went, because we run into Talbon and Jitsa a few times, and Selamas has vanished. So
She wasn't she manipulated or something? I'm trying to think. Pilgrim's
Lithid
Peril.
invasion.
Yeah, in Pilgrim's Peril, she was manipulated, and we fought
yeah.
her. All right. Well, anything else you all want to say about Underdark, Durgar, Demogorgon? Oh, we didn't talk about the level cap increase. I mean, I don't know if there's a lot to say, but yeah, we're going to 36. I think everyone expected this to happen. Every other year, they've been doing a level cap increase by 2, so I would expect two this year. 2028 we'll probably get a 28, and then 2030 we'll probably get to level 40. So yeah.
It's
So we
say
should get
they
a
set
new
down this
feat
policy
for
years
sure.
ago, and yeah, it's worked. They spend 2 years essentially building in the content to support the level cap. The level cap is going up is the last part of that 2 year period, and then they immediately start towards the next one. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it continuing. As it works. Certainly a lot better than the previous level cap increases that they did prior to going into legendary.
We should get another epic feat at level 36. I don't know what we're going to get at level 35, but we're also going to get more epic destiny points.
True.
We get a stat increase as well, 36.
And
Oh, that's right. There's
it's divisible by 4 and by 3.
Oh,
so you get a feat and a stat increase at 36.
And I know some players are getting antsy about legendary reincarnation, but I until they get to at least level 38, I just don't think they're gonna introduce that into the game. But obviously, that's eventually gonna come with level 40.
It's at least 4 more years down the line.
Yeah, it's at least. Well, at least I would say at least 2. I could maybe see them in 2028 doing it at level 38, because they did do epic reincarnation at level 28 at one point. So
I wouldn't.
Well,
be
they announced
if
that they have plans to go to level 40 years ago.
Yeah. We'll see, but not yet. I mean, 6 levels would just not be enough for a reincarnation.
No, I don't think we'll see reincarnation until 38 or 40.
Right.
I think we'll see the drop of the jump this summer, where you can jump. You get to level 30 and you can immediately jump, to level 31, 32, 33, 34, depending on which ones you've previously earned.
Yep.
36 is now enough for you to actually have to earn those levels each time.
Yep.
I think they will drop the jump, because jumping 6 levels in one go is ridiculous. Four is pushing it.
We're getting new archetypes and new races so there's those past lives to go after. In the meantime, we're getting 9 new past lives this year.
Yeah.
At least, and they might even, who knows, they could always add another, epic past life or something at some point randomly. Maybe even, I know people are asking for iconic completionist. I don't know, but maybe someday.
Well, they didn't announce that. Usually when we get in a full expansion like this, we get a tree and a race and an iconic race. So we haven't seen.
Well, she actually did say
yet,
yesterday.
so.
She did say yesterday we're going to get both an iconic and base race.
Yeah.
Durgar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but usually you also would get like a tree, like you get Harper or
Oh,
Bastani.
yeah.
Those are all come out. We got Macrotechnic. We got an archetype with one of them. So usually there's some sort of flash options tree also.
Yeah, maybe a universal tree or new epic destiny. Possible. Yeah, we are getting the archetype, so that's a new tree. Okay,
Yeah, but
well,
that's coming out with the anniversary.
yeah,
So.
that's very soon. Okay, anything else you all want to say before we move on to the last quarter of the year?
I'll say the only thing I'd like to say is of all the expansions that they've had, I mean, I'm most stoked for this one. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm just hoping it'll be as awesome as I think it's going to be, because I love all of these these big epic characters like Orcus and Demogorgon and Grazit and such. These are absolutely iconic D&D villains. So I'm hoping we get as many of them as possible. And we get to mix it up with them because it'll be cool.
Yeah, for sure. Me too.
I remember-
Definitely looking forward more to the setting, at least, and the fact we're getting Durgar excites me a lot more than like Mithranor did or Chiller Ravenloft did. So yeah.
We did a campaign that involved Orcus at one point that was very peculiar, but it was in 4th edition, which made it even stranger because that was a very weird system.
We don't speak about 4th edition.
Since we're on the topic of editions, I honestly think that going forward, we're going to see a lot more of DDO going into 5e type topics and adventures and things like that. We saw it with Chill of Ravenloft and the story that they chose for Chill of Ravenloft. Out of the Abyss is one of the older 5e adventures, because I think it came out in 2015. So I think that we're heading that direction. I think you're still going to have 3.0, 3.5 is kind of the original engine, and then whatever hybrid we've come up with since then. But I think a lot more of the stories you're going to see are probably going to be in 5e.
Yeah, I mean,
DDO is almost it's almost like
Well-
its own edition because we just have so many mechanics that had to be changed to make it video game friendly.
Yeah, it is very much its own edition. It started in 3.5, it went right through the edition that shall not be named, into 5th edition, into what is technically now 6th edition, even though they continue to call it 5th. The amount of changes in the most recent edition version of 5th edition are so many revisions and such. It is basically a 6th edition, but they continue to call it 5th. But
It's like
we've
Windows numbering.
yeah. Well, that's a fair analogy, given that most of Hasbro's senior staff are ex-Microsoft people. Sorry.
It's all right.
But
Oh, I don't
yeah,
want D&D Vista.
I mean,
I really don't.
we've had quite a lot of 5th edition put into the game already. I mean, the entire of the Ravenloft that we've got, both expansions are based on 5th edition books. Curse of Strahd is basically directly lifted into the first Ravenloft expansion, and the most recent one we've just had, Chill of Ravenloft, is taken from Van Richten's Guide to the Mists. Saltmarsh, Ghosts of Saltmarsh book. Vecna is more original DDO content, but I say we're getting now
Vecna was my fault.
out of the Abyss, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see in years to come something like Tomb of Annihilation might turn up. But when the level cap gets to 40, I'm fully expecting to see the 2-part Tiamat thing, because we now have a wireframe for a 5-headed draconic type creature, the Hydra. So swap out the heads for dragon heads, add a pair of wings, and double it in size, and you've basically got Tiamat. The wireframe is there. It needs some tweaking and adjusting to make Tiamat, but you can make Tiamat. I'm fully expecting we will see that expansion, but I don't think we'll see her until we get to level 40. Because if anything screams endgame, it's the Queen of Dragons herself. That
Yeah.
would be an awesome raid boss.
All right. Well, unless someone else has anything else to add, we'll just keep going here. The letter. So in the fall, Talera says that we expect to debut another live event similar to 2025 Symphony of the Fae, including a hardcore mode with leaderboards. The Order of the Guardians has returned and needs your help dealing with a different Dreadlord trying to escape its Ravenloft domain of dread. So it sounds kind of like Lanterns of the Mist Part 2. But what she said here is it'll be very similar. It'll be very similar to Symphony of the Fae. Hopefully they, we talked about this already, but earlier in the podcast. But yeah, I mean, we hope they improve. Some of the common complaints about the Symphony of the Fae, like the borders and the items, I saw that being a common complaint. We already talked about things that like I would like to see, like make it less, I guess, less incentivizing the repetition of quests. But we'll see. It is going to be the same in format, it sounds like. So it's going to not be a separate server. It's going to be just like Symphony of the Fae, current server. Hardcore, probably be hardcore, non-hardcore rewards. But we will see what happens there. But that'll be fourth quarter of the year. Well, technically, she just says the fall. So I guess it'll be third quarter, fourth quarter. Somewhere
I
in
think
there.
that's going to be Lord Soth, because when they did the Black Rose coffer, they sort of teased a little bit about Lord Soth in there.
Saying Talera was saying yesterday that there is like an ongoing background sort of meta plot that someone is trying to help the various Dark Lords, etc., escape from Ravenloft. So I'm thinking that possibly ties in as well to what will be DDO's version of Out of the Abyss, with helping Demon Lords escape. Someone's trying to set like a whole bunch of really big, powerful villains loose from whatever confines them from spreading their evil and chaos, etc. The obvious candidate here is probably Vecna, but that doesn't make any sense because Vecna's lawful evil. Spreading chaos and stuff isn't really his thing.
How about the Delcare Lords?
They would fit, yeah.
We haven't seen Belashira and...
Yeah, well, we haven't seen any of the other ones. We've only ever seen the Lord of Ice and Lord of Stone, and there's like half a dozen other ones, I think. So they would certainly fit with spreading just pure chaos.
Yeah, and Talera talked a little bit yesterday. They're having also an internal debate about, possibly in the future doing a separate hardcore server. She did mention that that separate server did not come with the move to the 64-bit servers, so it's going to be a process of it if they ever do that. But it sounds like that's something that they're still considering, and I think a lot of players would love to see that. They just don't want to. They don't want to split the player base. Is the whole thing with that?
Yeah, there's just
That's the major concern.
With the 64-bit servers, they've just consolidated the player base. And so
Right.
I think everyone's happy with the fact that you can go in a tavern now and there are actually people in there. You're not just the only person in a tavern or the only person walking through the marketplace. It's really nice seeing lots of people coming and going and the servers being busy, and the LFM having multiple things on it. The very last thing they want to do now is undo that, which I think a dedicated hardcore server will.
I suspect there's some concern that when they turn 64-bit transfers on, there's going to be a mass exodus from Cormier, and that might be a little problematic.
Yeah, and Talera mentioned with the 64 to 64-bit transfers, there's something holding that up on the technical side, which is why it's not out yet. I would like to see there to be a separate hardcore server. Again, maybe they can help pad the splitting the player base part of it by maybe making it a shorter event. Hopefully, I would think that the servers now, with us being consolidated to 4, could absorb that more, since when players leave, since we're only down to 4 servers, even if a percentage of this population goes over to that hardcore server for a period of time during the event, you would still have a decent number of players, hopefully, on your server. But I don't know. clearly they don't want to do that, but it's being asked for a lot by players, like a lot. And I know a lot of players that was DDO to them, the old hardcore. That was DDO, and they haven't come back to play because they don't have the official hardcore. And I know they want to try to replicate that experience on the current servers, but I just don't think you can. It's just not possible. You're never going to have, unless you're starting people from scratch, you're never going to have a similar experience. It's just you can't, because it's contradictory to have people, your friends, play with you with their like current characters when it just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
If
what the
I had
solution is. There's
anything,
pros and cons.
My personal wish list would be that if I could if there was a hardcore thing where there was an option where you could take your fully tricked out characters and do, a hardcore style challenge with them where you just really try to hit just the hardest difficulties, do the nastiest stuff. To me, that would be a fun thing. But I also understand the allure of, starting with nothing and seeing how far you can get.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Well, anything else on the hardcore event? I mean, the only other thing in the letter was she talked about Drow. So Drow is going to get a visual update. I'm assuming they picked Drow just because we're going back to the Underdark, because because otherwise it doesn't really make sense to me, because I can think of like Purple Dragonite definitely needs more of an update than Drow does. I can think of a few other races that, like, I think Half Orc as well needs it.
Same wireframe, isn't it?
Yes, it's the same frame, but I think there's races that need it more than Drow, but I guess they're doing Drow just because of the setting of the expansion this year. But, so that makes sense. They want to have nicer looking Drow that we're probably going to fight in the expansion, and they want the player characters to match. That makes sense.
So Matron brought up asked the question yesterday on Fridays at 4, and unfortunately didn't get answered. When they do the visual update of Drow, are they going to tweak Drow so that it's no longer penalized with build points? Because there's been loads of races added since Drow. I get why Drow were penalized at the time, but races like Tabaxi and stuff like that have come in since, and they're not and Eladrin have come in since, and they're not penalized with a build point. No other race is. So can we please lose that with Drow, please, and allow Drow to have 32 point build? There is no reason why they're being penalised and every other race isn't.
Yeah, I agree. That would be a nice change.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised that they're doing.
Sorry.
I was going to say that I'm not surprised that they're doing updates to some of the visuals. I mean, because look at how much better the new Eladrin look compared to the Eladrin that we had in game before, right? If you ever running with the Devils,
yeah,
the Eladrin there are kind of just standard elves, basically. These they look like standard elves mostly. Now with the new Eladrin that we got with Myth Draenor, it's a whole different level of fidelity, and this is something that Tolero talked about in Fridays at 4. It's like with the Reaper wings, and the fidelity with the Reaper wings, how much nicer they can make those cosmetics look now with the technology that they have compared to what they had back then when Reaper wings first came out. So, and they said they're going to do more in the next few years, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they got, because stuff's gotten better.
I hope they hit Shadow Kai just because they have so very few cosmetic options.
Yeah. I'm running a Shadow Kai right now. I noticed that. It's like
I will say that the Eladrin that we have as a racing game aren't actually Eladrin. They're Fey elves. They call themselves Eladrin, but that isn't actually what they are. The Eladrin that are in Running with the Devils are true Eladrin. Eladrin are a planar race, like demons, devils, etc. The ones that we have, they have the option to look like an elf, but they also take their true form, like a land. When I say one of them turns into like a lantern archon, one of them turns into like a whirlwind. You've got Gaeli Eladrin, Brolani Eladrin, and so forth. Just like you get, like Pit Fiend Dretch.
Devas.
And Divas, yeah. They are a plain L race. So the ones in Running with the Devils are actually true Eladrin. The ones from the Feywild are not actually Eladrin. They just call themselves Eladrin. They're actually just Fey elves.
So I'm going through chat here. Troggy says he'd like to see updates on racial trees as well when they do this. Yeah, I agree. He mentions Morning Lord. Yeah, and I know Talera talked yesterday about balance work. I know casters, DPS casters at Endgame Higher Skulls gets mentioned a lot. She talked about that. They want to do that, but we will see. They did do one big balance pass last year, and I even said when that came out, I'm like, there's definitely going to be more rounds of this, but we don't really have details, unfortunately, with the producer's letter. But yeah, if anyone in chat has questions about anything or just topics you want us to talk about, please post that now because we're getting towards the end of the podcast here. Let's see. Troggy says he'd like to see more of the old D&D toy lines and cartoon characters from the 80s series being incorporated into the game. I'm not...
Oh, like Warduke is in the Keep on the Borderlands cosmetics. Yeah, that would be cool.
Especially if we get Tiamat.
Jackie says crafting redo. Yeah, they still haven't up the... Is Kenneth Crafting still max level... What is it? Max level 30...
32.
Still
32.
Right.
Solero said yesterday that's within the one of the things they intend to get fixed within this calendar year. It's not on the roadmap. There was actually quite a lot yesterday that she mentioned is scheduled to be in game within this calendar year, but it's not on the roadmap because the roadmap
It's
tends
stretch
to be
goals.
yeah, it's penciling in when it's done when it's done, rather than saying we're going to do this in Q1. It says it might run long, so we don't want to say exactly when it's going to happen, but by this time next year it should be done. That's I think the server transfers was on that list. The Kenneth Crafting was on that list. There are a couple other things as well. So yeah, there's quite a lot.
Yeah, Reaper we work. I know they want to do that. They talked about that, but it's not. I don't know if they're going to do that this year, but it's definitely on their short list. Troggy asked, did you all mention the possible iconic for this year, Durgar plus what? Yeah, oh yeah, oh you mean in terms of what class? Yeah, that's a good question. Like what class do we think the iconic Durgar will be? Because they already have a barbarian.
Battle Ranger is the obvious one.
So you think they'll do an archetype or something?
No,
because every iconic starts with one level of some kind of class.
Yeah,
I guess they could do barbarian. Just makes so much sense, even though we already have a Razor Claw shifter.
Well, Durgar tend more towards lawful.
Yeah,
they worship.
Fight. It could work with fighter.
Okay. Yeah. See, we have fighter as well.
Battle Ranger sounds like a barbarian, but they're actually incredibly adept fighters. They wear like spiked armor and such. I mean, the I can't remember. He's got a ridiculous name. He's in the Drizzt novels. I think it's
I know who you're talking about.
Wolfgar.
Wolfgar. Thibbledorf. No. Wolfgar's a human barbarian. Thibbledorf Went or something, I think is his name. His basic thing is point me at people you want dead. He says to King Bruno Battlehammer, and
basically the whole style is you charge in, impale everything on your armor spikes, and then just shake it to death.
Yeah.
I mean, we had dwarf battle ragers in like Temple of the Deathworm.
Yeah,
we
did. And Thunder.
Yeah, there's an undead one in one of Tethamar as well. The end boss in Tethamar, where you can get the chest with the cloak. He's got an undead battle rager with him.
Yeah, but so maybe I mean they didn't mention another archetype for this year, so it's got to be. I mean, if there's an iconic, it's got to be an existing class. So maybe they just make it a fighter.
They might not
Yeah, I
mention
don't.
everything.
Yeah, I mean they're not gonna. Yes, that's true. That's true. They could pull out another archetype or
It's
something
like
this year. I
we didn't know Chaos Mancer was going to be, you know, an archetype.
true.
You know,
Wild Mage's archetype, but yeah.
Wild Mage, yeah. But we didn't know we were going to get the Wild Mage archetype at the time that they were talking. So
Yeah,
who
because
knows?
with Myth Janor, they introduced both the iconic and base race, and then they introduced the archetype as well with the bundle. So yeah, maybe they do that again this year, and they just haven't mentioned it yet in the producer letter because they don't want to commit because they don't know if they can get it done.
The
Troggy asked
turnover process.
about Arcane Trickster. I can't see them being Arcane Trickster. I think that's going to be a separate thing.
I can see.
I
can
mean,
see them
Durgar
doing.
are more magical than regular dwarves, but they're not that magic.
I don't think.
They're also engineers. Gracklestug is a hive of industry with great big furnaces, trains of like ore coming in from mines and such. An artificer type archetype. Iconic could work with them. I don't know if
A
there already
forge
is.
master artificer.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, well, I have a few other questions before we wrap up here that I want to ask you guys. So, I guess the first thing is, so of all these things, what are you looking forward most to this year?
Definitely the Demon Lords.
The Demon Lords and the expansion, Psycho Blonde.
Yeah.
What about you? Psycho Blonde, is there anything that
I'm
really stands out?
not really sure.
Not sure?
I
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I like a lot of things.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Nomad, is there anything you're particularly looking forward
Yeah.
to?
For me, it's Out of the Abyss, mainly for personal reasons because that was the first 5e campaign that I DM'd with my wife and daughter.
Oh,
And
awesome.
so it's just got sentimental value for me, and I've always thought that it was a really cool storyline. So I'm looking forward to that.
And the next thing, is there something that's not in the letter that you want to see them do this year? Is there anything that stands out as an omission?
Monster manuals.
Monster manuals,
Mon-
fixing those up.
Monster. Well, I mean, Tolera did mention it that it is something they're working on because they're checking it over to see whether it actually causes performance issues before they revamp it. But at the moment the top reward in Monster Manual is it allows you to see monsters' hit points. Well, since the transfer, everyone can do that all the time anyway. And there's a huge disparity between the original Monster Manual volumes and the more recent ones as to what the rewards you get. Nowadays, you tend to get mysterious remnants, 250 and then 750, and such. Whereas before, you got turbine points, and then somewhere in the middle, it was astral shards. And the amounts of XP you get for hitting certain objectives are absolutely all over the freaking place. So some standardization come in and set them all to the same thing. If need be, set everyone's monster manuals back to 0 and let everyone start all over. I wouldn't actually have a problem with that. That's kind of what happened with the server transfer anyway. So whatever. Bring in standardize the monster manuals, and then you can start adding new volumes because we've got there was a thread on the boards. Myself and I can't remember the name of the other guy, but we point out that there are at least 30 mobs, that there are enough of each of them to qualify for monster manual entries. That's 3 whole volumes, and that's not counting the stuff that's been added since in Lemordia and other monsters that didn't qualify at the time but have since had more monsters added in of. So yeah, monster manual absolutely. And when they have done it, please start mentioning it in context with subscription. The monster manual is easily one of the best perks you get for subscribing to the game. It's a huge amount of XP you can get each life.
I just
So
like it because the sudden random, hey, that's 14,000 XP that just fell out of nowhere.
it's nice when it says, you've completed this hunter deed or this exterminator deed, and you're just like, oh, cool. It's lots of little achievements that and it gets you to go out of the way. Hunter deeds, especially exterminators, just you've killed 500 of this monster. But the hunter deeds, you actually have to go out of your way to hunt down rares and like really obscure monsters in like optionals in quests or in wilderness areas and such. It's cool. It's fun to do.
I'm really hoping one of the things that I've heard a lot of the more elite players who hang around on the PC, they are all begging for something to do with maximum caster levels for casters. Just fixing that whole system because it's a giant butt right now.
Yeah, it's really hard for players to understand too. So I would love to see them just revise that, simplify that.
I'm gonna go with something simple. I'd like to see Gatekeeper's Grove reorganized, honestly, because it right now is so cluttered.
Yeah.
There's just so many things in there, and the portals are not subtle, for sure. And I zone in, and then next thing I know, it's like I want to go to Borderlands, but then I find myself over by Slavers, and
I do that
would
too.
I would like to see it just kind of cleaned up a bit. I mean, if that's going to be the location where you're going to have all these different portals to different areas in the game, make it a little bit easier to find stuff, right? Maybe a little bit easier to figure out which portal you're supposed to be going to, because some of them look alike.
Yeah, and they have the
Or maybe like
flags. They have the flags, but they need more to differentiate the different portals.
Well, they need to have like the quests and the expansion zones need to be in like different places because they're all like mushed together. And I'm like, is this Slave Lords? Is this White Plume Mountain?
When they first added the stuff, it was in a lot of these quests were in the Hall of Heroes. And then they put them in the Gatekeeper's Grove, and I was like, okay, so you're going to have this as a hub for all the classic content that's adapted from modules. Most of it, anyway. Obviously, Haunted Halls is off an Evening Star, but then they put in the Gatekeeper's chain in Cerulean Hills. You've got like these bunch of quest givers in the middle of the zone, cluttering it up. And then there's now portals to Evening Star and to Weeloon, and it's just like, well, what is this place? It needs a tighter focus.
They might need to just make it bigger, because I think that's part of the problem. It's really small, which is fine when you had less stuff, but now it's just kind of overcluttered.
I'm surprised they don't use. Sorry,
it's like the opposite problem of the Holy Heroes, which is way too big.
Yeah, I mean, the outside area of Temple of Elemental Evil. When you go into Temple of Elemental Evil, there's like this outside area. Now, there used to be mobs there, but when they split the temple up into multiple different dungeons, it's just this empty area that you now have to walk through to go into the temple. So why don't you move Slavers and the other, Slavers and Saltmarsh and Borderlands, the other Greyhawk content, have that as a hub for like your Greyhawk stuff in there.
I don't know. I just think thematically those don't really go with Temple of Elemental. White Plume Mountain might work.
Oh yeah, well, White Plume Mountain. Yeah, maybe not Saltmarsh and Keep on the Borderlands, but I mean Saltmarsh is in Greyhawk, but Keep on the Borderlands is a bit dodgy as to where it is because it's sort of originally my Stara, same as Isla Dread. Also, one on the thing of moving stuff around, can we please have Dead Sea Scrolls moved out of the hut of Hut of Beyond?
There's no reason why that should be in the hut.
No frigging reason to be in there. Move it down to the end of the harbour next to the other stuff to go to the Isle of Dread. And
I don't even know why it says Isle of Dread on the Hut from Beyond when you go in.
Yeah.
It's the prequel to Isle of Dread.
It should be on the harbor, probably near Lost at Sea.
Yeah. No.
No, down at the other end.
Yeah,
Like the other end?
Past the
Captain the
trainers.
Hidden God.
Oh, like where the expansion turn in
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
expansion claim is
Yeah.
for Isle of Dread. Yeah, that'd be good too.
Put it there. Get it out of the hut. It doesn't belong at all thematically or anything in the hut. It's just
Yeah, I've never thought about that, but you're right. After thinking about it now,
I
yeah.
want them to add an option
it's
to the
prequel to
Jinn
Isle of
in
Dread. Just put it with
Feywild
the rest of the Isle of Dread.
where you can go to the Wild Hunt area directly from the Jinn instead of having to port back to the harbor, go through the hut from beyond, and then go to the hunt area. It's like this is connected to the Feywild. Give me a teleport straight there.
Oh yeah, like from the
Oh,
like from the
yeah.
key or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess getting to mine thing is that's not in the producer's letter is I want to see I'm a big raider. It's my favorite thing to do. So I want to see more raids because one raid a year is not. That's just not enough. Well, preferably I'd like to see like 2 new raids and a revamped raid, but like 3 raids a year would be amazing. But if it's only 2, that would be okay. Also, but yeah, one raid is just not enough. Please, let's get another one in there somewhere. Either as part
I
of the
liked what
adventure
they
pack.
did with Den of Vipers,
Oh,
where
Yeah.
it was the wrap up to the event
I'm
as
gonna have to
opposed
follow
to
the
needing a
umbrella
whole
back.
expansion.
Yeah, no problem, Record. Oh yeah, when they followed that up. Yeah, that would be good, but I mean preferably 3, but 3 a year, but 2 a year would be okay, but one a year is just we got to get more raids than that for sure. It's just not enough. Even if it's one new raid and like a revamped raid, that would be a lot better than just one or put 2 raids in the expansion again. That would be amazing. But I'm assuming it'll be just 1 like normal, but it used to be 2. I wish it was 1, but that's my thing I harp on just because I like raids so much. Well, the last
part of the problem is that they're locked into this model where the raid has to have this whole raid oriented loot system. And I think they could, because some of the fun part of raid is just doing the mechanics and stuff. So we don't
Right.
necessarily need an entire original loot system for every single raid that they come out with.
Right. Yeah. Like more interesting things use threads on. They could also introduce I think a raid saga would be really fun to give us more reasons to run like some of the older raids that maybe have outdated loot, more older raid loot that you could turn into augments. They could add more of that in. That's a good way to add some interest to older raids. There's a lot they could do.
I was just thinking about this because I mentioned Den of Vipers as the wrap up for Lantern of the Mist. What are they going to do with those 3 portals that they have sitting in that area inside the hut, just beyond where Hearsome was or is? He's probably not there. I haven't gone into the hut since the thing ended. So,
oh yeah,
but
for the
just
event.
past there, there's 3 portals that say this is not ready for anything yet, and so what's going to go in there? Who knows, right?
That was my assumption.
You can go up to the top and click on the thing, and there's a message that shows up.
Okay. Well, the last thing I was going to ask you all was, let's see. So Tolero at the end of the letter says, I'd like to open the floor to you to talk about your most important nostalgic and or fond memories of DDO, because the game is hitting 20 years, which is a huge milestone. Not many MMOs make it to 20 years. So is there any particular memory, nostalgic memory, or just particularly like anything that stands out from you all's years of playing DDO that you want to mention? I mean, for me, it's just probably the most nostalgic thing for me, because when I was really, really getting into DDO is when Cap was 20 and I had a blast just like running Shroud like every 3 days and just like healing Shrouds on a cleric dwarf healer I had at the time. And for me, that's the most nostalgic. I know Tolero yesterday also talked about like how did you find the game? For me, it was I played some pen and paper in high school, and I just thought Dungeons and Dragons was awesome. So literally, I know this is not the most interesting way to say you found the game, but literally I just Googled Dungeons and Dragons games. It was one of the like top ones, and I just clicked on it and tried it, and here I am still playing it. How many years ago was that? I think that would have been 2008, 2009. So however many, 18 years later, 17 years later, still playing it. So any particular memory that stands out for you all?
I've got one.
Oh. Go ahead.
Um, first time we did Don't Drink the Water on Epic Elite, which was very hard back then. I went with a full group from a guild. I was playing the healer. And we get to the dragon, and I'm like, oh, I'll just be back here behind the dragon and I'll be fine. And the next thing you know, I get hit and I take like 4,000 damage. There's a one shot me, and everyone in the party's like going, "What happened?" I said, "It killed me with its butt." Because that was the first dragon they put in the game. I think that had that really big tail slap.
That's funny. Brack, did you have something you wanted to mention?
I mean, I got into the game when it went free to play. My Facebook page for a week got completely spammed with adverts because they actually advertised back then. And yeah, after a week, I was like, "Fine, I'll give the game a go. Quit nagging me." And you know, here I am, 16 plus years later. It's what I do for a living. I stream, 5 nights a week, and yeah, it's funny the way life goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
As for in-game memory, the first time I ran Tomb of the Wizard King on Epic, old Epic, before Epic had different difficulty levels. It was just level cap was
difficult.
level cap was 20. It was Epic. Literally anything could one shot you. It took us 6 of us went in. We lost, I think, 4 of the party during the course of the run, and they were replaced. 6.5 hours it took us to do that quest. We had to shield wall in every single door. Our wizard would run in, basically aggro everything in the room, run out and drop a firewall in front of us with, hunkered down with shields that we'd pulled out of chests. We learned this the hard way. We were like bracing weapons to start with. The mummies had come forward, and we'd just stand there while they just burned to death in front of us because we couldn't do anything. If we hit them and got the aggro, they'd just kill us. Our cleric moonbeams finished the. I ended up buying an Ifriti repair thing. It's one of the very few times I've actually ever used one of those things to repair all of our gear, because all of our gear, everyone was basically in their underwear. And by the end of the quest, our cleric moonbeams was back in her knickers. So I think 6 hours.
Oh God.
Got out of there, and immediately, like, every one of us was like, "Okay, we need an absolute ton of soul gems of Earth and adamantine ore." I must have farmed Relic of the Sovereign Pass like 100 times.
Oh yeah.
The month after, just to get the adamantine ore to put like 2 levels or more on every single piece of gear I had, because it took so much damage. Yeah, crazy. I say you couldn't even kill Ryum. The only way to kill Ryum was to kite him out of his room. So you had to basically someone with evasion and stealth, invised, to do this. They had to like switch their weapons to get him to follow you and kite him into his own traps. So God help you if as a rogue you were doing due diligence and disarming traps as you went along, because the rest of the party were like, "No, we need the spinny blade traps because we can't kill the end boss without them."
I have so many memories. I remember the first time I ever got to Cap was in Reaver's Reach. I remember running Caverns of Koromar. One just memories that really stick out is the first time you encounter that beholder at the end, and I remember hiding by the door and just watching this elf ranger that I was grouping with just get disintegrated like right in front of my face, and I was just like, "Oh my God, beholders are so scary." So that really stands out. Just so many memories. I remember Menacing in the Dark when that came out. That was like, for anyone who wasn't around when that expansion came out, it was just such a massive like change for the game when we got Epic Destinies. I just remember like farming out the fate, the twists of fate. I remember just playing with all the destinies and being like, "Oh my gosh, we're going to level 25. We can do all this stuff in these destinies." Oh man. Just, yeah. Is there anything you want to mention, Nomad? I don't think you've chimed in yet.
there's a lot of memories with the game. I remember doing raids with Loot over on Kenneth
Yeah.
when my wife was in that guild. Some of the high rollers would go over there and play. But one of Brackett bringing up the Whiz King thing reminds me of the first time me and my guildies went into Monastery of the Scorpion. And we went in there. There was 5 or 6 of us. We were in there for probably about 3.5 or 4 hours trying to figure out where to go to open this door, to do this, how do you do the puzzle to get shot across, to the different areas to pull a lever, multiple deaths, multiple re-entries, doing the enter the kobold, trying to figure out your way through that stupid puzzle with all the diamonds. We're in there for several hours. I mean, doing Reaver's Reach the first time, especially when you had to figure out I have to go get all of the gems in order to go do the end fight with Sorjek and just to enter the area. That's one of the big memories for me is, Reaver's Reach for us was like, oh, this is like end game if you're not raiding. And that's something that I really remember because we just spent so much time doing that. And we would farm the wilderness areas. We'd go in and do all the Slayer and everything else.
Back when the dragon touched runes weren't labeled, so it was just
I remember
what am I getting this time?
I remember running Prey on the Hunter so many times just to get the dragon touched armor combination I want, which I still have. All my dragon touched armor. I can't bear throwing them away. They're still, stuffing up my inventory there in my bank. And yeah, Reaver's Reach is probably that, and Veil of Twilight's definitely the number one nostalgic area for me, but Reaver's Reach is right up there too.
I love the explorer areas, the 4 little explorer areas in
Yes.
Reaver's Reach. I don't care over much for the quest. I'm not a big fan of the quest, and I absolutely hate Prey on the Hunter because the idea of spending an entire quest running away from frost giants annoys me to no end. It's because I don't run from frost giants; they run from me.
Well, the autofill at the end is the
frost
bad thing.
giants.
Yeah, I think Reaver's Reach is the best candidate for a legendary, and if they're going to revamp a pack, I think it's the best choice, in my opinion. I mean, my biased opinion, but they need to definitely iron out a few problems, like the flagging for Stealer Souls and the autofill condition in the end of Prey on the Hunter. But for the most part, I think it's an awesome pack that needs to be brought back.
There was the one issue with the fly spell where people used to go in there, get the fly spell, then go into Shroud and be able to fly over the barrier and Shroud to go loot the.
Oh, really?
That.
Part 1. Oh yeah,
yeah. That was so funny. I remember that.
I mean, that just stuff that people would figure out. I remember we did Vaughn 5 or Vaughn 6, and rather than having to go kill all the pillars, in Epic, they would build, which is when they started having trap making, and they would actually build a pile of traps, and you can climb up the traps and then jump over the barrier to go kill the dragon.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right there's a whole bunch of stuff when we were doing when guilds first came out. We had Guild Renown. It was the very first thing. We would go into the first part of Demon Queen. We would go in there. We would go to where the Trogs, I think it's Trogs, that whole area. We would grab the snake. We'd go into Snake. We'd go grab the main guy, the one that would spawn everything. We'd drag him out to the beginning. We'd flesh to stone him, and then we would just farm, killing all of the different things to get Guild Renown, to get our Guild Renown levels up. It's all these things that we used to do, which were, I don't want to say they're exploity, but there are things that we did, and it was fun. But talking about how we go ahead, Bracker.
Sorry, certain spots of the game where you could literally jump outside the game. I'm fairly certain they've plugged all of these now, but I mean there used to be one in House J, the Gatekeeper's Grove. There was one. There was one in very well known one in Myrding Kobolds. There are still some, are there, Trog? Okay. But yeah, you could literally jump outside the game. and then go running around like these enormous, seemingly endless fields of like flat green terrain, and then you'd encounter like this weird sort of circular sort of area, and it's like a whole quest area. It was just like an island in this sea of grit. It was very, very weird.
Yeah. Yeah, there's even
But
some YouTube videos of that stuff that I've
Yeah, yeah.
seen. There's one, I can't remember his name, but there's one
Fade,
YouTuber that does.
Fade,
Yeah, Faye of the
Fade
Wild
of the
Hunt, I
Wild
think.
Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in terms of getting into the game, so the way I got into the game, my wife and I were watching the web series The Guild with Felicia Day. And I'm like, that just seems like it'd be a lot of fun to get into a game and have a group of people to play with and all this stuff. It's fantasy setting. So I started looking, this is back when Yahoo was the search engine.
Oh wow, the
I
guild.
I started looking for games that were free to play because I did not want to pay a subscription fee, right? And DDO had just gone free to play a few weeks before. And so I started playing. Our family guild name actually comes from the guild. So if you guys are on Shadowdale or if you had been on Kenneth prior, the guild +5 to Sexterity is our guild,
Yeah.
which is based on a line that Zabu said in one of the very early episodes of the guild. So, it's just that's how I got into it. I was watching his web series and then like found the game, and here I am 16 years later and streaming it, making content on YouTube. It's funny. The only other thing I will mention is the biggest frustration I ever had in the game was leveling sigils. I'm so glad they got rid of them and we never have to deal with them again. And for those of you who are new and don't know what leveling sigils were, when I first started playing, if you got to level 4, you had to have a specific item that you had to use in order to level up past 4. You got to level 8, you had to find another item. You got to 12, same thing. Got to 16, same thing. Right? That was the biggest frustration I had, and I knew so many people who quit because I still have one guy I had as my very first friend, still on my friends list, but he quit at level 12 because he could not find a leveling sigil, and he never came back because he never showed up again.
I never used those. That must have been before I joined, because I didn't join until 2008, or it was like 2008, 2009-ish. So I don't remember that. So it must have been before my time.
From what I remember, they got rid of those when the game went free to play because I started playing
Yeah.
like immediately.
It was
They
probably
got
right
free
before
to
I
play.
started playing.
So I started game went free to play. From what I understand, they'd scrapped those like a couple months before, when Tower of Despair was added, and the cap went to 20. Because so the first new content that was added since I started playing was Inspired Quarter 1 and 2. Still love those quests. I want to go to Dark. There you go. There's an idea for a pack. Let us go to Dark Cat and pay them back for them trying to take our city from us. Revenge. And Droarm while we're at it. They've got a slow train called Payback coming for their attack on Stormreach.
Yeah, so leveling sigils were taken out with update 3. So this was when February of 2010. So,
really?
So they were there, and this is also when they came out with Epic Vault of Night. So that's around that time.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you all want to mention? I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up the podcast. If not, if there's anything else you want to mention that we covered today that you want to bring up that you forgot to mention, anything like that?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll finish up by just going around the table. If you all want to plug your stuff, if you've got YouTube channels or Twitch channels or guild web pages, whatever you want to plug. If you want to start, Brackert.
Twitch.tv/Brackart. I stream Dungeons & Dragons online 5 nights a week, Monday to Friday. And on Saturdays and Sundays, I stream painting miniatures for Dungeons & Dragons and Warhammer. And sometimes I raffle these off to my viewers. So there we go.
Okay, Nomad?
Nomad Dog, twitch.tv/Nomad Dog. I stream DDO on Wednesdays and Fridays. And then I am on DDO stream Sundays at 2 p.m. I won't be on tomorrow, but I will be on the following Sunday. just finished up my hardcore Potion of Wonder runs, which was a lot of fun. I did not die to a Potion of Wonder. I died to a champion Will-o'-the-Wisp in Into the
Oh.
Mists, Lightbringer, where I took 100 and like half my hit points went the first time I got hit with something. And so I ended up dying to that. Very start of my last stream. I went 6 weeks perfect, and then 7th week, first quest I died, last quest I died. So it just wasn't going to happen. But then I also stream on Mondays, but I stream variety of games on Mondays now. I just started doing that. And then youtube.com/@nomaddoggaming. And that's where I post my videos on things like coffers or things happening in the game, or, compilations of like my Potion of Wonder run and stuff. So, yeah, that's all for me.
Psychobond, anything you want to plug? I know you got a YouTube channel, right? And as mentioned before,
I
Psychobond does
have a
the
YouTube.
maps and stuff for the DDO wiki.
I have a channel and I have a Twitch, but I'm so irregular about ever doing anything on them. I don't really plug them. I just plug the DDO official Discord. It's been doing pretty well. I think I've been moderating there since it launched, like a year and a half ago now. So yeah, if you weren't aware that there is an official Discord, definitely come check that out. It's been really good for discussion lately, and we're over 6,000 members now. So.
Okay.
Seriously, thank you for all the maps, by the way.
Yes, those are very, very good.
Absolute godsend. But thank you very, very much for all of the maps you've made, and for any ones you make in the future.
Well, I'll go ahead and plug, as I always do on these podcasts in the description, I'll go ahead and plug everyone's stuff below. And I guess all I want to say is these episodes, for anyone listening, if you want to listen to previous episodes, you can find all of them on a playlist on my YouTube channel, which is Axel's DDO channel on YouTube. And you can also find them all on Axelcast on Spotify. Last thing I want to do is just say thanks to my Patreon supporters, Braylor, Brian Rasmussen, and Vovklop Snyder. And thanks to everyone for tuning in, and I appreciate it. You all have a good rest of your day. Take care.